Greetings, stationery lovers of the world. Welcome back to another one of my videos. This is going to be another unboxing, but I use the term unboxing loosely because these are actually on loan to me from a woman that we met through an online stationery group, and we have met for coffee a handful of times, and she is looking at opening her own online stationery shop here in Australia. And one of the things that she wants to carry are the Kukoyo Jibun Techos. And she has asked me to take a look at not one, not two, but three of the Jibun Techos. If you're unfamiliar with the Kukoyo Jibun Techos, there's actually a few different versions that you can get. These are just two of the few, and I know that there's three here, but we're going to take a look in a second as to what makes these different, but also what makes them alike. I'm quite excited to have a flip through and have a peek into these because I had actually considered the Jibun Techo over a Hobonichi a couple years ago, but I decided not to get it. But now that I have these in my hands, I think they're going to be really interesting. So in this video, I'm going to take a look at each of these planners. I'll take them out of the packaging. I'll do a quick flip through. I'll point out some features. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain why each of these is different, talk a little bit about the paper, and we'll just see what happens and go from there. So before I go any further, what I want to explain just really quick is something to note. These are the A5 Slim, what they call the A5 Slim sizes. They also carry these planners in a B6 Slim, which is not a size that I have with me. I do have a regular A5 planner, which I can show you the size differences, and then I can try to compare the A5 Slim versus the regular A5 to you as we go through the setup. So let's go ahead and start with what Kukoyo calls, I guess, the first kit. So I'm going to open this up and you'll see what's included. I won't be able to play with the paper, but I can try to explain the paper to you just a little bit as we go along. So this is, again, what's called the Techo first kit, an A5 Slim size. And what I have here on the right is my Hobonichi Cousin to give you an idea of what an A5 looks like. Let's go ahead and pop the Jibun A5 Slim on top. So height-wise, the paper is the same. I'm going to line up the left side where the spine is, and you can see how much of the A5 sticks out. With the A5 Slim, you're losing about, I'd say, almost half an inch on the sheet of paper. For us Australian folks, that's about 1 centimeter, a little over 1 centimeter, maybe 11 millimeters. So that is the size comparison with a regular A-size planner. It's actually a really nice compact size, and I'll be interested when we take a look at the width of the columns as we go farther into it. So you probably see right away on this fly sheet, it has a 3-in-1 life, log, and diary. And what that means is you actually get 3 different books. And I'll walk through the books as we go, but I want to explain what's included in this first kit. This first kit includes the 3 different books that we just talked about, the life, the diary, and the idea book. And you can see that they come in a soft plastic cover. And the plastic cover has a pen loop, a pocket here. You can even slide something into this flap. And then on the front, now this is what I am particularly excited about. Let me see if I can get this off. It has 3 business card sized slots on the front of the cover. Again, you can put something underneath this flap. And then it has a pocket on the front. It also has a pocket on the back. And another thing that this kit comes with is this pencil board. So this slides out of this back pocket. Another unique feature is that this pencil board has an elastic on it, and you can stretch this elastic over the cover to keep everything closed. Where'd that go? So you just pop it out. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out. As I mentioned, this first kit comes with 3 different booklets, and I'll go ahead and pull them out. The first one is this life booklet. And the intent of this book is literally to keep it with you your entire life. So it has life's dream. It's obviously all in Japanese, and here you have what I would call a perpetual calendar, so that you can put things like anniversaries, birthdays, maybe even holidays that occur on very specific days. It obviously doesn't work for every holiday. So these travel maps you could use to plot where you've traveled to in your life.
Probably not so much right now.
Here you would have a very interesting, what I would call diary, and it starts at the age of 0 and is in 5-year segments. So you could use this as a 5-year diaries. You would have it for the rest of your life. So it goes until the age of 99. So Kukoyo assumes that we're all going to live until the age of 99. After that, I'm not sure what you would do. But as you can see, you have a couple different sections here that you can write and document what may have happened that year. Same thing on this side, though they've already pre-categorized it for you. Family news and world news, which actually would be very interesting in my opinion. So maybe you can't see, but right along the edge here, it's numbered 1 through 12 for each month of the year. And that might be something really interesting to write the highlight of that month of that particular year. There again, you've got space for up through age 99. And after that, we have a section for family tree. You have a couple sheets for that. That's pretty interesting. And then contacts, password hint list. I know some people are split whether or not that's a good idea to write them down like that. Financial management. I'm not sure how you would use this. It looks like, however, you have, again, like a contact sheet because you have a space that says telephone and then, web ID. So perhaps this is logins for your financial websites. On this side, it has where you can put credit card numbers. So this could just be a list for your financial institutions, etc., in case you need that information somewhere. A medical record, I'm not sure how to use that. Favorite photos. So they only give you one little box for 99 years worth of favorite photos. So I don't know if that's fair, but so that's what the life book entails. Again, it just comes with the first kit. So let's go on. This colored piece is just a piece of paper. So you could theoretically take this piece of paper out and put your own design in there. Maybe you could print a collage on the same size paper, or maybe you'll find some stationery paper. So then after that is the main book, and this is the diary book. A lot of people use the word diary, and what they actually mean is planner. So if you see that terminology, that's really what's going on. So let's take a look at this really quick. It's got some really interesting features. And so again, you can take this book out. I'm not going to do that, but you can take it out. So here we got the cover sheet, how to use it. So it's obviously going to all be in Japanese. And here's a really quick tip. I can't do it right now because I'm filming with my phone, but the Google Translate app has a camera feature, so you can select Japanese as your source, take a picture of the page, and it will actually translate the picture into English, which is very fascinating, which, it gets a little old when you keep having to do it over and over, but if there's just little segments that you want to have a look to see what it is, I would highly recommend that. So then this is a sample layout that they've given you, explaining how you could use it. We have an over 3-year overview, current year, previous year, next year. And then we have, I'm not sure what you call this, but this concept is the same in the Hobonichi Techos. To me, I use it as an index. Maybe you want to use this as a perpetual calendar, or you could even use it as a tracker. Just a couple ideas. So this only starts in January of 2021 and just has the 12 months. Age chart, I know Hobonichi has that too, which I think is interesting. My Dream 2021, I don't know, maybe that's a vision board. Money plan. I have seen some interesting ways of using this, and if I can remember, I'll try to link the video in the description of someone I had come across a couple years ago who really used this in an interesting way to track her finances. So you get the 12 months of 2021, and then I don't know if this is a total column or what that is. All right, another map of Japan. And here's a practice layout. 100 wishes list, favorite phrases, which I actually like that because I often find myself looking up quotes, and it would be nice to have one page to look at. Recommended list. This would also be handy. So I don't know how many times I've been out with somebody and they mention something and I have all these little pieces of paper all over the place with movie or book recommendations. Oh, and here's a book list. Movie list, okay. Gifts received, gifts given, promise list. I guess this could keep you accountable. Like, oh, I promised to drive Mabel to the airport on such and such a date. Maybe, I don't know. This, I'm not sure. It's just maybe some more promises. Lots of promises. And then here is what I would use as a tracker. So you get 2 months per page, and then the days of the month are listed across the top here of the month, right under the month header. And so I would use this as a tracker. You could do mood tracker, track your vitamins, or whatever people need to track things for. So it starts in November of 2020. And you goes through April of 2022. And then we go right into the monthlies. The Jibun diary is a Monday start with the weekends on the right hand side. So one very noticeable thing that you'll probably already see is that the top bar of Monday through Friday has a very specific color. Saturdays are blue, Sundays are red. Now, when I go to the next month, you'll see that that color changes. So let's have a look at the colors and see if they repeat. So green, pinky red, gray blue, taupe, pinky red, green, green, lighter green, gray blue, green, taupe, tauper, more taupe, gray blue, green, and pink. So there is absolutely no pattern to the colors, and actually these pinks are different. So let me go back. No, there's not a pattern to the colors. So maybe there's a very specific reason that they're like that. I would be curious. Drop a comment below if you know of any magic there. On a very typical monthly layout, you have the days of the previous month grayed out before you get to the first of the current month. What they provide is the previous month's calendar, the current month's calendar, and next month's calendar. So this is this, but I guess if you're trying to quickly plan something out, like let's see, today's the 13th and 6 weeks from now is the last day of school, so you can easily count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the only reason why I can think of doing that. Then you have check boxes on the left side, and they've carried over these check boxes to sort of fill up the space. I don't really like the look of this myself, but more than likely I would just put a piece of washi over it. On my monthlies, oddly enough, I don't use the sidebars, but this could be handy for your to-dos, etc. Let's have a closer look at what a daily looks like. So you have a little space here where you can, I don't know, highlight in the box of how you're feeling that particular day. And here's a close-up of what that taskbar on the side looks like. I do wish that the boxes were a little lighter gray color, very faint, so that if you actually wanted to use it, you could mark over it with a darker pen and it would pop a little bit more. But it is nice to sort of have these pre-filled. Another quick thing to note is that since this is a Japanese planner, it's going to have Japanese holidays. So again, I've already indicated that Sunday is red and Saturdays are blue in this planner. Holidays are also red, and these are going to be Japanese holidays. I just want to point out what you're seeing here is actually the bar from the previous page, so it might look in the video as if this are shaded, but it's not. So that's what a typical month layout looks like. So it starts in November of 2020, and the last monthly that you're going to get is March of 2022. I do see moon phases. Again, something I wanted to point out, I do see moon phases. These are not accurate for us in Australia. The moon phases are like about a day off here and there. Sometimes they're on the same day, but just depends on the time of the day that it occurs. All right, so then we go right into the weeklies. And the first weekly is October 26th of 2020, because Sunday is the 1st of November. So their weeklies are going to start in November of 2020, which is actually quite exciting. If you're new to the book, you can just jump in right away. I'm actually going to turn to the next page because I do see a feature that I wanted to point out. So again, we went through the different colors of each month. As you see at the top, this is the color of the month in the calendar, in the monthly calendar. So green, green. Any week that's in November is going to have a green bar at the top. And when you get into the next month, let's just have a look at December, it's going to match the monthly chart at the top. When you have a week that has 2 months in it, like this one does, the previous month's color is going to show up on those days, and then the next month's color is going to show up on the other days. So if having any color in your planner bothers you, this is just sort of a good example of what that's going to look like. So this particular week, you have 4 different colors. So what I do like, though, is this visual of the weekend. What I do wish is that they were the same color, and actually like the blue color myself, but it is nice to have that differentiation. But do keep in mind that this bar at the top is going to have the color of the month. I did want to point out on the weekly layout for this, as these 2 topics are very controversial in the planner world. It's a Monday start, and the weekend days each get their own day. So this is another good example of how they handle a holiday. Again, Japanese holidays, and that holiday is going to be colored red in the Techo. Well, let's have a look at what is provided. So you have the current year, the current month number, the current month name with abbreviation, and then you have a calendar of that current month, and it lightly shades the current week that you're in. Another thing that it has, which I actually really like this feature, is it has a week number in a circle next to the calendar. So this would be the 45th week of 2020. Let's have a look at the next week. So then here's the next week, and then you see week 46, and it just marches its way down the calendar as we flip the pages. So let's talk about this calendar really quick, because when we have a week that overlaps months, you'll notice that they actually include both the previous month and then the current month coming up in the calendar on the weekly view. I don't mind this, but I can see how some people might not like it. And again, always a Monday start. So just like the monthly, we have pre-filled checkboxes, and then a typical daily layout is along the top here we have weather icons, and we have 3 boxes before the timeline starts. This is an hourly vertical planner, and it starts with hour 0. So here's midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. And right when we get to 6 a.m., then each square is half an hour. So then we have 6, 7, 8, 9, etc. And it goes all the way to hour 24, so basically midnight again. And then at the bottom, we have little smiley or sad faces. So again, you can track your mood. So here's a couple boxes here. We have an icon with what looks like a sun coming up, and then this looks like a full sun. And then there's a star here. Maybe you could put your breakfast, your dinner, and then I'm not sure what you could put there. Maybe you could do one gratitude word for the day. So let me zoom you in here and we can really have a closer look at what these look like. While I have this zoomed in, there's one really interesting quote unquote feature that I noticed. So do you see how these hours, the circles are dark? And then as you go through the day, the circles become not filled, I guess, they become lighter. And then as we approach the evening, they get dark again. So keep in mind that this is a week that's in November. I'm going to flip to a week that is in June. And we're going to have a look at what that looks like. So notice which hours are dark and which ones are light. And notice down here which hours are dark and which hours are light. So it looks to me like they're trying to indicate as the year goes by which hours are dark and which hours have light. Now here in Australia, it's going to be completely opposite. Since we're in the southern hemisphere, our longest day of the year is our summer solstice, which is the northern hemisphere winter solstice. So your shortest day of the year is our longest day of the year. So this is obviously not at all going to be applicable to anyone in the southern hemisphere. And it might be really imperceptible to anyone. Just wanted to point that out because I thought that was really, really interesting. That is the weeklies. And again, they have what appears to be the moon phases. All right, so I'm just going to flip through really quick and see if there is anything else that I can spot that it might be different from week to week. And then lots of space to record anything that you want. Maybe a quick little jot of what you did that day. So let's keep going. You do have a tab, if you will, indicating the month, and it does move down the page each month. So the last full week that you have to plan in is the first full week of January of 2022. And then the back page is monthly memories, perhaps. Ooh, a Tokyo route map. This looks to me like there's subway systems. That's pretty cool. If you traveled throughout Japan a lot. World time differences, this would be very handy for me, given that my family is in this time zone right here. I'm in this time zone over here. So +1 minus 16 is 15 hours behind. My family is 15 hours behind me here in Australia. Personal data, however you want to fill that out, and then that's it for this book. And then the third book that you get in the starter kit is the idea book. I'm going to pull that out as well. And this is really simple. The idea book is just graph paper, but it does have this ruled line on the left-hand side of the page. So this is completely filled with blank graph paper. So I want to talk about the paper really quick. A couple years ago, Kukoyo stopped using the Tomoe River paper in their diaries. And now in the diary books, they use the Kukoyo, what they call the thin paper. And it's also a 52 GSM paper, just like the Hobonichi, just like the Tomoe River paper that Hobonichi uses. If I had to explain the difference in feeling and texture. Even though it's the same weight, I would say that it just feels a little bit different. It feels like it's a little bit stiffer. Again, I can't do a pen test, but what I did want to mention is that the Kukoyo Jibun Techos are very popular with people who like to use the friction pens, because when you erase with that friction pen eraser, the paper holds up beautifully to the friction and to that sort of plasticky tip that the eraser is. I've heard that people who try to use those friction pens on the Tomoe River paper either rip the paper or it gets all crinkly where they try to rub out. So this, if you really like to use those friction pens, this is a really great option for you to consider. I haven't heard how well it holds up to things like watercolor and other media that people like to use on the Tomoe River paper. Having said all of that, the Life booklet uses Kukoyo's Mio paper. And the Mio paper is a little bit thicker, and it feels like it has some type of coating on it. It's supposed to be fast drying and good for fountain, gel, and ballpoint pens. But it definitely feels smoother, and it does feel a little bit thicker. I can tell a definite difference in the two. This is really smooth, which is what I really like, but this also feels really nice to me as well, and I'd say very comparable to the Tomoe River paper. And not to get even more confusing, but I have a planner that uses the new Tomoe River paper. For those who might not be familiar, the Tomoe River Paper Company has changed the way that they manufacture the Tomoe River paper that is used in stationery products. And this new Tomoe River paper, the new production, has a little bit stiffer feel to it than what I'm used to, and that's kind of what this reminds me of. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it's different. So that's what this reminds me of. Then the Idea booklet also uses the Kukoyo thin paper, which is the same paper in the diary. That's my quick blurb on paper. My first thoughts on this planner are that it could be a really interesting contender to the Hobonichi that I'm using. I like, this may sound strange, but I like the way it feels in my hand, and it feels more compact, even though it's not that much smaller than the Hobonichi. It just feels a little bit more compact. Now, I don't travel with my planners, so it doesn't really bother me, the size. Like if it were really big and heavy, I wouldn't care, but it just feels good. It feels like, yeah, I can just like take this around the house and jot things down. This is like, I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to show you really quick though. Oh, look at that. I'm glad I did that. It comes with 2 bookmarks. I don't ever use bookmarks in a book, honestly. I don't like them. I usually cut them out if I have a book that has bookmarks. But let's have a look at the column width. Don't forget, this is an A5 Slim, so each side is going to be about a 1/4 inch skinnier. So here's what the column widths look like. This first kit comes with this wonderful cover. I have to be honest, I wish Hobonichi came with something like this. I love Hobonichi's covers, and you can mix and match every year, and you can switch them out. But to have a very simple plastic clear cover like this with a whole bunch of pockets, I think should be something Hobonichi considers. So let's put this all back. And I did want to point out that these Idea and Life booklets are a little bit skinnier than the diary, so that they tuck up nicely into these pockets here. So this is the cover of the diary, and these just kind of slide in to these pockets in the front and the back, creating a nice little package. And again, you get this pencil board. So that is a walkthrough of the 3-in-1 Life, Log, and Diary. So let's take a look at the next guy that I have here. And this is just the diary. So we've already taken a pretty detailed look at what the diary book looks like. And I think this is what they call a refill, because if you've purchased the first kit in other years, then you can just pop this in. But what I do really like about this is it still comes with this cover, this plastic, somewhat clear cover, but same concept. You've got a slot in the back, you've got the credit card slots in the front, and you have a piece of colored paper behind it all that you can easily change out if you wanted to. I didn't know is if these 2 covers are the same, or if the cover that comes in your first kit is going to be a little bit thicker. But what I think I might try to do is pull out this Idea book, for example, and see if it will fit in here. So it totally does. I like that. I like that a lot. So, you know, one thing that I don't really use in my Cousin are the daily pages, but this is perfect for having your monthly and your weekly actual planning in here. And then this can be like, for lack of a better word, your brain dump. This is what you could bullet journal in. You could have collections. You could use this first page, just set up an index, and then use each subsequent page as lists or any other thing that you need to keep track of. And then you could easily just keep switching these out as you go along. So this is not any different than what I just showed you in the first kit. It just comes on its own, and you can easily take it out of its cover and use it as the refill to the kit if you've purchased it in a previous year. So let me just show you really quick that it is exactly the same. Same bookmarks, etc. Same information in the back. And again, it's the Kukoyo thin paper in this planner. I really quite like the yellow. You'll notice that the year is printed on that colored cardstock. Now let's have a look at the Biz version of the Jibun Techo. The Biz version uses Kukoyo's Mio paper, which, like I said before, is supposed to be a super smooth, fast drying, very fountain, gel, and ballpoint pen friendly. I believe it is also archival quality, if that's a concern to you. Let's have a look to see how this might be different from the regular diaries that we just had a look at. So it has the same type of cover, but as you can see, it is not see-through. And it actually, even though it's plastic, has a very soft feel to it. I can't explain it. It's really interesting. Let's take a look at the cover real quick. It does still have like this front pocket. It has the same sort of credit card slots on the left, pen loop, and a slot right here that you can put something in. The year is stamped on the spine of the cover for the Biz version, and it's sort of a silvery foil. And the year is also stamped on the front with foil as well. So if I had to take a guess, I would say that the layout is going to be exactly the same as the diary in the regular version. And I'm going to flip through page by page to see if the layout is the same. But already this Biz version has a much darker grid front page here. How to use the Techo, like the print is much darker here. Again, with the layout that you can test out. Okay, same things going on over here in the regular diary. 3 years to a page, same thing. Again, I just want to note really quick that the gray tone is a lot lighter here. And also right off the bat, I can see that while Sunday is still red and Saturday is still blue, can you see that it's a little bit more blue-black and this is a lot more red? So maybe it's a little bit more professional looking if I had to say, if I had to stylize it. But you get the same exact information. Here's your yearly index. These are exactly the same pages between the two planners. Again, this is just a darker writing. Same information, a little bit different layout in the regular diary. So this seems to be a little bit more clean and sophisticated, I guess. I actually like the graphics here a little bit better. I just wish that it was the lighter gray that is in the regular Techo. Not a big deal, but continuing the flip through, and so far the information is exactly the same. So then we have what I'm calling the trackers. First thing I notice is that the Biz version starts in December of 2020, whereas the regular starts in November of 2020. So again, the Biz version, very neutral. It has very slight blue shading on Saturday, red shading on Sundays, as well as holidays. So we can have a look. Let's see, I'll go like that. So far I'm seeing that the months do not have a colored bar, and I'm actually really liking that. We'll just flip through the trackers here. The last month you get in the trackers is January of 2022 in the Biz version, but April of 2022 in the original version. So we turn the page and it goes right into the monthly layouts. December 2020 start in the Biz, November of 2020 start in the original. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the left-hand side of the page. Let me flip to December just to give you a better comparison. Again, much darker printing, however, very neutral. The only color they use are on Saturday and Sunday or holidays. The original has the colored bar at the top as well as much more colorful Saturday and Sunday bars. Otherwise, you get the exact same layout and information. The month here in the upper left-hand corner does have a shaded box that the original, the original does not have. Same thing with the previous month, current month, next month. And the last monthly you get is March of 2022, which is interesting because the tracker only goes up to January of 2022. So you get an extra couple months of monthlies in the Biz version, just for the monthly layouts, but not for the tracker. Let's have a look at the original really quick. The last monthly you get is also March of 2022, and the trackers go up to April of 2022. So one little difference there. Let's have a look at a typical weekly layout. Neutral bar across the top, muted blue and red for Saturday and Sunday. Here's a comparison with the original book on the right. Again, you have the exact same information from the weather and moon phases all the way down to the mood tracker and meals tracker and favorites tracker. Exact same check marks across the side on the left, and again with the dual month showing in the upper left hand corner if the current week spans 2 months. Only difference being here is that the year and month are in a shaded box in the upper left hand corner. And again, this graphic doesn't go all the way to the top of the page. Again, with the tabs indicating the current month, this week happens to span 2 months, which is why you're seeing both the 11 and the 12. So that's a typical weekly layout. And you also have the current week number indicated in a circle right next to the week that is also highlighted. So you get all the weeklies, and the last weekly that you get is the first week of January 2022. In the original book, I think it has a lot more things in the back, so let's have a look. So I flip the page, and I get 8 blank pieces of graph paper, and then it goes right into a memory log of 2021. Let's have a look at the original book. You get here's your memory log right away, and then what you get are the subway maps, the world time zone chart, and then your personal data page, and an information page. So no blank grid pages in the back of the original version. And then this flips right into the personal data page and the information page. So no subway maps, no time zone map, which I thought maybe as for a business person might be kind of handy, but apparently not. So those are the biggest differences between the two versions. And having had a look at this, I would be inclined to go with the Biz version. But what would really sell me on it is if this were a lighter gray, like in this original version. This just kind of sinks back into the page. Whereas this is a little bit too bold for me. I know that sounds really strange. There is no version of the Biz Diary that comes with either the Life book or the Idea book, but you certainly could purchase an Idea book and slide it in the back here. It does also have bookmarks. And then the other thing that I like a little bit better about this is that it comes with a clear cover. I'm sure if I had one lying around from a previous year, I could easily swap them out. So maybe you purchase the 3-in-1 kit, you could easily get the refill for it in here. So that is a rundown of the regular Jibun Techo and the Biz version of the Jibun Techo. I quite enjoyed having a look at these. I think if I weren't already so far into accessories and setting up my 2021 Hobonichi, that I would heavily consider getting the Jibun Techo. And in fact, I'm thinking that maybe for next year, I'm going to give it a shot. But I can't decide if the colors of each month, especially across the top here, are going to bother me, or if I prefer to go with the more neutral but punchier print in the Biz version. Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. If you want to come along on my stationery and planner journey for 2021, please go ahead and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up on the video if you like to see these types of comparisons, then I know that I can do more of them for you. I hope you've decided on your planner system for 2021. And as usual, happy planning!